Let's briefly discuss the structure and function of repetitive sequences in the genome. And so we spend a lot of time in this lecture talking about individual transcripts, the regulation, what type of regulatory elements control them, and so on and so on. But we're actually ignoring most of the genome. And so, again, protein coding exons take up about 2% of the genome. Non-coding RNAs, 2%, regulatory elements, somewhere 10 to 15%. And so that leaves a large part of the genome that is either devoid of function or at least devoid of function that we understand at this current point in time. And so what's really interesting about the human genome and many other genomes as well is that a large part of the human genome in many ways is composed of a repetitive sequence, or what we've identified as a repetitive sequence. So I believe in the human genome, for example, approximately 50%, so that's 50% of the genome is roughly repetitive in sequence. And so what you're looking at here, and you'll see this kind of diagram in multiple lectures later, this is what's called a UCSC genome browser track. And so the UCSC genome browser is a very frequently used tool in genomics for visualizing genome sequences as well as their annotations of different regulatory elements. And so here, generally speaking, the x-axis represents one portion of the genome sequence, and different rows of this diagram correspond to different annotations. And so here on the top part of this diagram, you see basically annotations of different genes and their gene names. And in the lower half of this diagram, you see annotations of different kinds of regulatory elements. And so if you look at the bottom part of the diagram, more specifically, those are basically annotations of where different types of repetitive elements are, at least that were identified by this software called Repeat Masker. And so these signs, lines, LTRs, and things like this all refer to different types of repetitive sequence. And basically the point of showing you this diagram is that you can see that across this section of the human genome that I've displayed, you see a lot of black, rectangles in those rows corresponding to repetitive sequence, much more than, the portion of the genome that's covered by the genes or the DNA hypersensitive sites and things like this. And so again, cumulatively, these kind of repetitive sequences cover like half of the genome. And so it's just worth pointing out that they come in, there's two major different types of repetitive sequences that people often talk about. And so one type is called the simple repeats. And so these are things that look obviously repetitive in sequence. So these are things like AT, 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 or so on, or like, trinucleotide repeats or things like this. And so those type of simple repeats are oftentimes highly polymorphic. And so what that means is that, for these simple repeats where you have like three bases that are repeated like 50 times over, like ATG, 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 or something like this, between different individuals in the human population, we can vary widely in terms of the number of times that trinucleotide repeat is actually repeated in our individual genomes. And oftentimes a lot of diseases are associated with, great, large scale expansion of certain types of repeats or things like this. And the other major class of repetitive sequence are what's called the interspersed repeats. And so these are repetitive sequences that actually move around in the genome. So these involve things like transposons or retrotransposons that literally can literally encode certain types of elements that allow themselves to be copied by the cellular machinery and then basically transposed or moved around the genome, or either in a cut and paste fashion or in a copy and paste fashion. And so in terms of repetitive sequence, it's worth noting that by and large, repeats are often neutral, at least initially. And so, for example, what might happen is that a repetitive sequence might get copied and then dropped into a new place in the genome, and then they just kind of gradually decay over time because they don't serve any particular purpose. And many repeat copies are what's dead as a duck on arrival. And so even if you have an entire gene sequence that gets copied into a new location, you might end up with a 5' truncation that makes the protein coding gene basically useless. But it's also worth noting that repetitive sequences can be active in the sense that they can be actively like copying themselves or replicating for quite some time. But even these like actively copying repetitive elements can be inactivated by mutation, for example, and then decay away. But it's also worth pointing out that people have actually found that even in like pretty repetitive sequences, you can actually have regulatory elements within the repetitive sequences. And so even if most of the repetitive sequence in the genome is neutral, or at least kind of non-functional as far as we can tell, a small portion of that repetitive sequence can and has been found to be regulatory in nature. And so it's worth pointing out that even if only, say, 1% of all repetitive sequences was actually, acted in a regulatory way, 1% of half of the genome is still a lot of the genome. And so it turns out that repeats have a pretty important role, for example, in gene regulation, among other roles. And it's also worth pointing out that in theory, anyways, like any sequence can become functional, because again, as I mentioned earlier, because transcription factor binding sites are so, the sequences that TFs recognize are so short, what that means is that it doesn't take a lot of mutations in order for a given sequence to end up looking like a transcription factor binding site by chance. And so, it's kind of interesting to think about as genomes evolve over time, how frequently do transcription factor binding sites just kind of like pop up or disappear by chance. And so again, here, this slide just kind of emphasizes that even kind of, simple repeats refer to sequences that are that have short sequence motifs that get repeated over and over and over again. And these simple repeats can have a lot of implications in terms of different diseases and so on. And so really, in summary, again, depending on how you count it, exon regions of the genome occupy a relatively little part of the genome. The regulatory elements occupy a larger fraction, somewhere on the order of 10 to 15%. Repetitive sequences are very prevalent in the human genome as well as other genomes. And oftentimes these types of, these categorizations of different genome sequence elements are very rough in the sense that they're not mutually exclusive. And so a lot of repetitive sequences can actually act as gene regulatory elements and so on.